An absolutely massive week is here for KFC SuperCoaches. We've got to get those trades right before the prices start to move. So we need to know who's hot and who's cold. Talking about who's hot, we have to start with Lachie Neale. 198 points against the Bombers. I'm not sure why Champion Data couldn't just credit him with an extra little knock-on or something to get him to the 200, but it was an unbelievable game nonetheless. No one at Essendon worried about tagging him, and that was great if you had him in your KFC SuperCoach team. If you don't, I think it's probably the number one priority this week. He's only 543,000, but he's going to be a lot more expensive than that from next week. Another player who is red hot right now is Patrick Cripps, Carlton captain. He scored 132 in round one, and I thought, let's just see if he can back this up. And he's come out in round two and scored 162 against the Western Bulldogs, who have a pretty handy midfield down there. He just looks super fit, covering the ground really, really well. He's another one who started a bit underpriced, and if you want to get him before his price goes through the roof, you're going to have to do it pretty soon. And there were plenty to choose from for the last spot here in the hot section, but I'm going with XERRI from North Melbourne, someone who I must admit I hadn't really paid a whole lot of attention to till about 3 weeks ago. Wouldn't have even really been able to pick him out in a lineup, but now he's in my KFC SuperCoach team and he scored 120 points on the weekend. The Eagles had a pretty depleted lineup, but he looks like he's going to play as the number one ruck at the Kangaroos, or at least share that with Todd Goldstein, and that's a great role. We know rucks always score well, so he's only 208 grand at the moment, but he's got a very, very low break even. He's another one that if you can get him in this week, this is the time to do it. Who was cold in round two? We had Max Gawn in the cold section last week, and I said I wasn't panicking, but I must admit, I'm a little bit worried after a second game under 100. He scored even lower than he did the first week, and this one seemed a little bit more concerning in that he had less time in the middle. Luke Jackson played really, really well and outscored him, and I think Gawn will still have his big games, but there might be games like this throughout the year where he just takes a bit of a back seat and lets Luke Jackson do his thing. So it's a tricky one. He's worth a lot of money. You could probably save some cash and maybe spend it somewhere else if you wanted to trade him out this week, but it'll be a really brave call because he's still going to be one of the top rucks. I think I'll hold steady with Big Maxi. At the start of the season, we had quite a few players in the $200,000 to $250,000 price range to pick from, especially in the forward line. And the one I picked for my KFC SuperCoach team was Mitch McGovern at the Blues. I thought he had a really good role playing as an interceptor down back, and he scored pretty well in round one. But in round two, he just couldn't get near it. Took a couple of marks, but really low possession numbers, and the things that he did were mostly sort of right at the end of the game when it didn't really have any impact. So a low score means he's going to really struggle to make money. I think his role is still okay, and he could put up a good score this weekend and get right back on the money-making wagon. But the problem is there's other players around him for a similar or cheaper price that were going to shoot right past him. So that's a tricky one I'm going to have to weigh up during the week. And another player who was very, very cold in round two, he was pretty cold in round one to be honest, is Lachie Whitfield. I watched that game pretty closely against the Tigers, and he was just a non-factor. It was quite an open game on the MCG. Should have suited him down to the ground, but he just could not get involved at all. So that is a worry. We didn't play super top dollar for him, but we're certainly expecting more than a 70, 73 point output. Could you swap into someone like Aaron Hall with a bit more money, or down to a George Hewitt? That's something you could consider this week. I think he'll still be all right, but we need him to score better than that. Come on, Lachie.